Hey everyone. Today we have a very special guest. We have my good friend Sasha. Sasha is the founder of a venture firm called Kae-Capital, and he's a phenomenal dude, very kind and very patient. And this took some time to make it happen, but I thank God we finally made it happen. And I'm very, very excited to have him here with us to share his journey and the lessons he learned along the way. Sasha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the invite and thanks for your patience.
Sure. Sasha, of course. Sasha, let's jump right into it because I have so many questions. And I am very excited to learn about your journey. So where are you from and what was your upbringing like?
So I'm from Mumbai, India, born in Mumbai. I lived my whole life in Mumbai. Went off to American International Boarding School, studied there for a couple of years. Went to the US, studied there, and then came back in 1996 to Mumbai and joined my family business. My father is founder of a publicly listed company called Oneida. It's a consumer electronics company. So I worked there for a couple of years in the early days between 1996 and then 2002. Subsequent to that, I did 2 startups. Subsequent to that, I joined a firm called Blue Run Ventures, which is a Menlo Park-based fund that's country head for India. And subsequent to that is when I co-founded or founded Kae-Capital in 2012.
Sasha, why get into startups? Your father has a company, a big, a publicly listed electronics company. Why go ahead and take that plunge into the unknown and join a startup?
So, good question. 2 reasons, actually. Reason 1, Ephraim, was, in 2001, I was still working in my father's business. And I realized that there was a huge need for funding for young entrepreneurs. He had started his own company in 1981. And it was very, very difficult for him to start the company because there was absolutely no capital for early stage companies in those days in India. And so when I was chatting with him and just talking to younger entrepreneurs in the ecosystem around that 2000 period, this is when the dot-com era was, if you recollect, we were very young. I realized that the problem still persisted even as late as 2000, 2001. And I felt that was really unfair. In India, what was happening was the large companies, they would just fund the second or third generation folks. And so the rich got richer and the rest of the folks who were equally talented, if not substantially more talented, getting left on the sidelines, forced to take jobs because there's absolutely no capital available. That didn't stop the best founders from figuring out ways to start companies like my dad did. But it just was very, very difficult. And therefore, you get far less on people who want to become entrepreneurs versus what should be happening. That was a key reason for me. That was a good reason. The second reason was not a good reason. It was greed. I was still young. And I wanted to invest in dot-com companies. So it's a bit of a paradox. But I said, dot-com companies, I can't miss out. And that's why I convinced my father to write a check into a startup in 2001, which was right at the peak of the dot-com era. But the reasons were all wrong. It was total greed. I just wanted to get in and do something. And I found this one company in which I invested. So those are the 2 reasons.
So what was it like back in 2001 when you came back? Obviously, you came from the US in 1996, and you experienced the whole phenomenon that was going on in the US back then. That's when Amazon just started, and that's when the whole startup boom started booming up until it hit the peak in 2000. So you've experienced it. So when you came back to India, did you have this whole thing like, let's create a culture of startups? Let me go ahead and build something. Let me get all my friends involved. First of all, what was it like in India when you came back in the startup culture, and what did you want to bring to it, experiencing what you saw in the US?
When I came back, which was between 1996 and about 2000, I was completely out of the startup scene. Of course, I was well aware of what was happening in the US because of, as you rightly said, Amazon and all these guys came in around 98, if I recollect correctly. So there was already solid action happening in the US, and all my friends who stayed back had started getting jobs in these companies. So I was well aware of what was happening. India was still one was certainly very, very early in those days. So we had our first batch of companies started getting funded in the dot-com era. That's when I started thinking of the startup ecosystem. As I mentioned, the 2 reasons I wanted to get into investing in these companies. And I realized that, okay, finally India seems to be taking off with all these companies getting funded. And we started having our first batch of VC firms getting set up in India around that period. E-Venture, that we collect, was a fund that was, I think it was funded by SoftBank in those days. It was one of the first funds that came to India, if I recollect correctly. And that's when I started saying, okay, hold on. There's a startup ecosystem getting built out in India. I need to participate. I need to get into this and adopt these young guys. How do I do it? And I did it by using my balance sheet of my public company to invest in the first company.
Wow. Go ahead. Wow. So let's continue on in your journey. And one of the things I want to focus on, two things, besides all the basic stuff, is Mumbai Angles and Kae-Capital. So Mumbai Angles, from my understanding, is founded in 2006 by yourself, and you spoke about it with a friend over coffee, right? About that. So tell us about that, how Mumbai Angels got founded.
Okay, so what I could do is let me reverse a little bit to 2002 to 2004, and I'll come to your question on Mumbai Angels.
Sure.
We will get context. So I made that investment. Let me talk about that first investment I made, right? That .com investment. I made it from the balance sheet of my public company. And within about 3 months of this investment, my dad put in a new board of directors into the company. And the new board is a bunch of very prominent Indian entrepreneurs and senior executives. And they said, why is a publicly listed company that is focused on electronics investing in a startup, which was at that point, it was a comparison website. Mm-hmm. We had pivoted from a comparison website to eventually. So the good news there was we burnt maybe 3 months of cash, and we realized it's a bad idea because it was a comparison website. So we went back to the market to kind of brainstorm as to what we could pivot to. And we pivoted to a data mining company, data analytics. Now, data analytics also was early in 2001, but it's still a better idea than the comparison website. So we said, okay, let's go ahead and recap the company. And 2 months hence is when my dad put this new board. The new board called me in for a presentation and they said, why are you investing in a data mining company? There's no synergy between electronics and data mining. In those days, IoT and other such things were too early, right? As you can imagine. So I couldn't make a case for that company. And therefore I said, okay, I'll take this company to my VC friends and see if they're interested in financing it. Now, in those days, by now it was 2002, it was not even a handful of VCs that I briefly mentioned right now. So when I spoke to those VCs, they said, look, Sasha, this is a very interesting company, but it's too early. It should be a seed or angel capital. So I didn't even know what angel meant in those days. I said, okay, I figured out what it meant. And I said, okay. So I ended up, along with my father, funding this first company. So we bought the shares away from the public company. That became my first investment.
Right. Wow.
That was now 2002. So between 2002 and 2004, we made a few more investments. I made a small exit as well. And then I was done investing. Because I was using my father's capital to make these investments. Plus, I was running my own company as a CEO. So I didn't have time. And the money was not mine. Now let's move to 2006. Right in the process of joining Blue Run Ventures, me and my buddy Prashant were having a cup of coffee one day at a restaurant. We said, why don't we join an angel club? Because then we can use our own money, sit with friends like you and sit around the table, discuss deals, kind of brainstorm. And then if you like it, put small checks together to add up to a decent sized check. So I remember checking the web in the evening to see what was close to my house. I thought it would be like Rotary, right? Tons of angel clubs. And I was surprised I couldn't see anything. I couldn't find anything, So the next day, same thing, we checked again. I met him again. I checked the web, nothing. So we realized there's absolutely nothing in India. And that's how we created, me and Prashant, Mumbai Angels. This was sometime in the middle of 2006. And that's the story. We called it Mumbai Angels because we presumed that angel investing is very localized. Because in America, it is already all over the US. So we said, obviously, Mumbai Angels. But, we ended up doing deals all across the country because we were so early that there were opportunities right across the breadth of this country, whether it be Bangalore or Timbuktu. And that's one regret we have is why did we call it Mumbai Angels? We could have called it something else. At the same time, there was a competing angel club that came up and they called themselves Indian Angel Network. I think they were very astute because, they were based in Delhi, but they ended up doing deals all across the country like us. But they're a generic name. So that was good learning for me in the future on how to brand as well.
Wow. So whatever happened to your first company, the company you were running, your CEO and the company you first to check?
So there was a newspaper article this Monday in the Economic Times, which is the Wall Street Journal of India, that the article claimed, because I'm not supposed to comment, because it's not done, and I don't want to comment on it, that the company raised $200 million from Apex Partners. So that's the story of that company. It's a phenomenal story of determination and perseverance there were 4 or 5 founders. Two guys stayed on all these years. And as you know, data is now the new oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these guys hung on. In 2000, I don't remember the year, but 2013 or 14, they raised $25 million from TA, from Boston. And in 2015, they raised $100 million from Khazanah, sovereign fund of Malaysia. And this unconfirmed report, which I can't comment on, which was front page news, was $200 million more dollars. So clearly, they did very well for themselves.
Well, I hope you're involved still.
Sorry?
That I hope you're involved still. You still have some shares in it or something.
Yeah, we're lucky. We have a very significant amount of shares now.
So you are an investor, and obviously with right now currently with Kae-Capital. What is it? How do you get comfortable with risk and create a better tolerance for it? Every investment you make is obviously a risk investment. It could be a risky investment. You don't know the turnout. You have to make sure you do your homework, and you have all the fundamentals and your principles set straight. But how could you get better with it, and how do you evaluate it?
So we're constantly learning. We make so many mistakes. Even this morning in our partners meeting, we were talking about how many mistakes we make and what we learned from the last investment we made. And I think till we retire, I think no VC on this earth is ever going to get it all right. This is a complex, constantly evolving business, and we're constantly learning. There's a lot of the smaller things are more important than the bigger things. The softer issues are more important than the harder issues. So we're constantly learning about what tiny tips we can take to keep improving as investors. The basics are always there, right? As to, obviously you find a really good entrepreneur, go after a large market. That anyone can tell you, grandmother can tell you that. And we still screw up there as well, right? Sometimes we fall in love with the entrepreneur and the business is shitty and it takes forever to pivot to get to the right business. But that's still manageable because the founder is really good. But a lot of times you fall in love with business and the founder can't execute. And life is all about execution, right? And that's a disaster because in India, especially to change CEOs, it's very, very difficult. In the US, it's doable, difficult. Mm-hmm. But in India or even in China, to change CEOs, it's either a cultural issue, or it's an issue of people not coming into early stage companies at that really early stage, etc., etc. So if you don't get the right founders to take you through to the end, then it's very, very difficult to build a decent sized company. But as far as learning, my God, we're learning all the time. So we have something called the BCA, Business Case Analysis. Mm-hmm. So that's constantly something that we do. We use that to fill up that document before we make an investment. So apart from the harder things that I just mentioned, back channels and all the standard stuff, we have a whole bunch of softer things we look at in order to make a decision on the investment.
Right. So what are your first principles when you're approaching an investment?
I think the question I ask them is, why are you starting this company in the first place? Mm-hmm. Right? I think that gives me a lot about the founder. Is he or she doing it because it's opportunistic? Or is he or she doing it because there's a true pain point? We really like founders where they come with true pain points because they have passion for it. It doesn't have to be their own pain point. It could be a relative's pain point, it could be a wife's pain point, it could be a friend's pain point. But are they truly passionate about it? And what are they going to do about it? And then, of course, are they the right team and so on and so forth. But the key thing is, why are you doing it? And I think I like to spend a lot more time on that versus just the business, because many founders are awesome presenters. They can come from really good backgrounds, make slick presentations. And because you come in so early, there's only so much we can see on the performance, right? So that's the first thing we look at is, why are you starting this in the first place? Let me really deeply understand this, because entrepreneurship is super hard. So the only ones that succeed are the ones who are the most determined and the most passionate about what they're doing. And not passionate as in rah-rah passionate, but just really gritty and determined. So we want to understand what's your purpose. And once we believe in that, then we really get excited about the entrepreneur.
Right. So you've obviously seen, based upon that, you've seen so many mistakes happen, not just from the venture capital side, but from the entrepreneurial side too. So what are some of the common mistakes you see happen constantly by entrepreneurs that they should avoid?
Well, sometimes, founders, they don't know each other as well as they should, and they join forces. And then, as for sure, in companies, there are going to be issues, right? So the minute the problems pop up, and because they don't know each other, the lack of trust, they fight. Of course, they can know each other very well as well and still fight. So founder issues is a huge issue. Sometimes people just, it's tough building a business, so you can't crack. So you've got to hang on. You've got to have that maturity to say, look, I trust my partner to the end. I'm going to hang on to this. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen. The second is, and maybe more important, is managing cash, right? Cash is critical, whether you have 2 million or $500,000 or 200 million. I've seen founders blow all of those dollars away, right? Very quickly. And for stupid things, the same founder will have not blown 10 million, will blow 100 million. So the point is, how do you manage your cash? And like I said earlier about, why are you starting the business in the first place? Is it truly a pain point? I mean, not getting the product market fit. So it's more like, I love this idea. I think the whole world was going to love it, but not doing enough homework. And then no one really buys the product. And the only people who love it is you and your CTO, and you look at each other's faces. But there's no one coming to buy. And obviously, if no one comes to buy, it's irrelevant. Sometimes, you don't need to perfect the product. Just get it out there. Right. Show people that it works, and then keep working on it versus trying to perfect it. You're perfecting something that no one wants. And you end up burning more money and time, and then the story's over.
Wow. Just that itself is everything. Just that, what you just mentioned currently. And I love the line you said, product market fit. It's not about you looking at your CTO and your CTO looking at you and smiling at each other. Hey, we did it. Does the market actually like it? And, have you tested it out there? Absolutely.
Just talk to your founders, like the classic Airbnb story, right? Where Paul Graham sent the chess key to New York, saying, have you even met your customers? Go to New York and talk to them, buddy. Don't sit in California. That's the classic example. I give that example to all our companies. Saying, hey, go talk to your customers, physically meet them. Yeah, we're talking to them, we know them. Okay, have you met them? No. Why not? No answer. So the best guy will do it. The second best guy may do it. The third best guy won't do it. That's life. I can't take a gun and shove it down their throats and say, go do meet them, right? So Chesky listened to Paul Graham. His company is worth 32 billion. It's as simple as that.
Well, listen, tell your companies that, as long as they listen to you, they can also, God willing, also be worth 32 billion, So tell me about a dark period in your VC career, and the lessons you learned from it.
So, we have so many dark periods. There's no particular dark period. But I would say, for example, between Fund 1 and Fund 2, we had some of our investors could not come through for Fund 2 because they had stopped investing in VC funds. So it wasn't that they didn't like us, but it was just unfortunate. So we had to regroup and restart a whole bunch of new investors into Fund 2. Some, of course, came through, but one or two of them that we liked a lot, and they hopefully liked us as well because of the reasons I mentioned couldn't come through. And so we had to regroup and restart the whole thing. But it worked out really well. We're still very close to the first fund investors, but Fund 2, we built a whole bunch of new investors, and we're very happy with the whole group of new cohort. So at that point when it happened, we were not happy saying, oh God, we're going to restart everything, but everything works out for a reason, and it worked out well.
Right. So, you mentioned a second ago that dark periods is not specifically one period, it happens all over. Emotional and I guess mental health being what it is right now, one of the massive topics going out there. Founder burnout, VC burnout, just people burnout, employee burnout. It's such a massive discussion currently going on, how to deal with it.
It's a huge problem, man. That's right. Sorry, please go ahead.
Go ahead. You're about to start. Go, please.
So first of all, please check out our site of this company we recently funded. It's doing really well. It's Wysa, W-Y-S-A.
Sure.
You check it out. It's a global site. It's based out of Bangalore, but it's getting traction in the UK and the US. We have global investors asking us to consider investment into the company. It's a bunch of ex-Goldman Sachs folks from London who moved back to India to start this company. It's actually too much. It's a very, very serious issue. Recently, someone I know, their child unfortunately committed suicide, and she was just a baby, teenager, right? So it's close to my home. I didn't know them very well, but I know them reasonably well. And the fact that this person had to commit suicide, obviously, I don't know the detailed reasons why she did it, but the point was a little bit added up to what you just said about mental health, right? And I think till recently, people always felt that mental health was all about, it's a disease. It's really a problem. It's not something to be shy about. We need to all talk about it. We have some celebrities here in India, like an actress called Deepika Padukone. She's a Bollywood star. She talked about her issues. I think that she's very brave, and I respect people like that, because if the celebrities like her come out and talk about it, people realize that, look, this is not a crime, this is not a problem, it's not to be hidden away. It's supposed to be talked about, addressed. You need to go and talk to experts, and many people have dealt with it and solved their lives, solved the issue and move forward. But if not, there can be very serious repercussions. So I feel that this is going to be a major problem. We all have crazy amounts of stress on a day-to-day basis. You can have a great day yesterday and then today can be a terrible day. But you got to deal with it and move on to the next day, right? And if you don't deal with it properly, you're just adding years to your life. You're managing years from your life. And I think that, apps like Wiser can only do so much, but at least it's a great start to have companies like that come out. And we're very happy about funding such a company because obviously we're going to make a profit out of it. But if we can help and give back, then that obviously makes us substantially happier.
If you weren't a VC, I would say you're in the wrong business. You should go and become a guru or something. The tranquility and peace towards you. What is your mental health habits? What are the habits that you do? You look like you're a guy that's a runner and an avid person that meditates.
Actually, I'm not, unfortunately, a great meditator, but I know the value of it. And I've got a couple of apps that I pay $100 a year, which I haven't been using as much as I want to, but I'm committed to doing it. So we have Head Start, which I have on my phone. I have Calm, which is on my phone. These are companies I'm sure you've heard of. They're very popular in the US. And recently spent a weekend with a bunch of 8 of my friends, very, very successful individuals, in a meditation session. So I was very nervous when I got in because I'm very impatient. And it was 7 a.m. in the morning on Saturday and 6 a.m. on Sunday and all through the day and throughout the weekend. And I must say that at the end of Sunday evening, I was actually very happy and feeling really calm. So I'm hoping I can leverage that learning from that 2-day session and the 2 apps that I just told you about. And the next time we speak in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months next year is actually inculcate meditation into my life. The most successful people in the world are all meditating. And there's a reason for that. It's that you need to have, even if it's 10 minutes. There's a great interview by Bill Gates that he mentions at the end of last year about how he thought it was all hocus pocus. But then when he tried it, he actually had the founder of Head Start come across to his house in Seattle and sit down with him and Melinda and kids and spend a day. Now he's Bill Gates, so everyone will show up, right? But we have the app in our phones, and he now sees the value of doing it tremendously, fabulous value, and he does it maybe 10 minutes a day. Good enough,
right?
So I recommend everyone try it.
Yeah. And you really realize the difference, the conscious contact with yourself, and not just with yourself, but in general, and able to be present and not rush and able to calm down. There's so many benefits to it that could just help a person.
Right. That's right. There's so many benefits.
So then what are some non-obvious habits that you believe or ideas that can change your life?
So, I was working out every day, but I wasn't losing the kind of weight I wanted to lose. And I was frustrated because, for example, I would swim, but at the end of the 20th lap, I'd get bored and just get out of the pool. Or I'd work out and it would be like a, decent workout, but I wouldn't be, whatever. So, and I'm playing squash, and I have torn meniscus and torn ACLs. So I can't play to the level I'd like to play. So bottom line was I was very consistent 7 days a week, but I wasn't losing the weight I wanted to. So finally, what happened was that I'd observed one of our portfolio company CEOs in a board meeting once, and he was walking all over the place. And I was like, what the hell, where are you going? Like he wasn't sitting in one position. And he said that, look, all I do is walk all day. And I said, that's quite interesting. And then I forgot about it. And then once I was in Bangalore in a meeting in Ritz-Carlton in Bangalore, and I met a fellow VC. And he said, come meet me at the lobby. And I met him in the lobby, and he said, come for a walk. And then the next thing I know, I'm doing a 1-hour walk in the middle of the afternoon. He dropped me back to the reception, and then the next VC showed up, and the next buddy of mine, and then we went another walk, and you got the drill. So a couple of months later, when I was reflecting, I said, hey, these 2 instances came into my mind. I said, why don't I start walking? So now I walk throughout the day. So I take entrepreneurs for walks. If I have conference calls, I do them walking. I will walk if it's snowing. I'll walk if it's raining. I'll walk if it's super hot, like it's in Mumbai all the time. And now I've lost 10 kgs in the last 10 months.
Wow. You look phenomenal.
I don't know, I'm not phenomenal, but I'm just saying it's try to do what comes easy to you is what I'm saying. Walking comes easy to me. So I do it, and now it's like I don't even think about it. I'm walking all the time. And I'm getting what I want to get done, right?
Right. So, Mumbai Angels, you guys funded some of the most successful companies in India. In Mobi, which I had the honor to interview the founders of. And then you also had a company, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Mintra.
Yeah.
Right. Which you exited right before it merged to Flipkart.
Right.
Now, when you look back at that situation, when you had a company that got acquired, we got it merged together with a unicorn, And, you obviously could have cashed out a tremendous amount of more money than you could have done. And I'm assuming this obviously applies to many other investments that you had. The feeling of regret, do you ever have that feeling of, I missed it, I could have done it, and then you beat yourself up about it? Not necessarily beat yourself up about it, but that whole feeling of like, we should have done different, I should have, listened to my intuition, or I shouldn't have listened to my intuition. What is it that what is your approach towards such scenarios?
So I think the question is not about regret on losing the money, which is actually a crazy amount of money I lost. Crazy money. I could buy a yacht for 100 million or something like that. Something stupid like that, right? Mm-hmm. But the point is about regret, about not thinking it through. And the key learning for everyone here is the most important thing in my business is exits. Is to how to think through your exit. Because at that point in time, in 2000, whatever that was, when I sold my Myntra shares, and I made a decent amount, I was not giving enough thought to exits. And you got to think of exits more than even your entry. And I think that's the feedback I would give anyone who's listening to this, because exits, if not well thought through, can either be a situation where now we both are regretting or thinking of regretting Myntra, or on the other hand, there will be many companies that I've done which have held on too long and they've all died or fallen by the wayside and they're not irrelevant companies. So if you don't think through your exits very deeply, you're not going to never be a decent investor. Mm-hmm. And my learning is, whenever we have a chance to exit, we constantly try to see how we can look at this business in the future, and should we be hanging on, not hanging on. And one of the things I've learned to do is to do the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Is take out 1/3, hold, and every time you get a chance, small chunk. The only difference is that when it's too early, we try not to get out at all, keep our stock. But as soon as I'm moving the needle for something, whether it be personally or for my fund, of course, in this case, now only my fund, do we take out some little amount? We consider it? Yes, we do. And that's the way I do it now, versus in the past, which was all out or all in, which makes no sense from all sides. So, for example, the deal we just talked about, that analytics company, if the deal does happen, I will take out a small percentage of my holding on the lines of what I just mentioned to you. So that I've got X in my bank, and the rest will continue to ride. And God forbid it comes right back down. It doesn't matter. I've already taken out much more than I could have ever made by making a healthy return on that company.
Well, that is a great approach towards it. Wow. So then what is your framework for making decisions? Now, I'm not going to say, obviously, there's no one specific decision, obviously, but when it comes to making hard decisions, how do you process it and how do you go about coming to a conclusion? What is your framework towards it?
I think with any hard decision, you got to really think it through, right? Because, it's easy to jump into it. So we never take a hard decision very quickly. On the other hand, we don't delay these things, because sometimes hard decisions, if they delay, can just be catastrophic. So you got to be objective, not make it personalized, focus on the issue, not the person, and just get it done. Don't dilly-dally, because the hard decisions are the most difficult. People don't like to do these, and a lot of times you kind of put them under the carpet. And I'm sure I have many hard decisions still pending that I haven't done. So it's easy for me to lecture on a stage like this. But every time I've seen where the hard decisions have come up, where I've taken quicker decisions, after some thought, of course, those have always paid off in the right way, versus just hanging on and just delaying these things and letting them fester. So my only request is, like everything else in life, you got to keep flushing these decisions and keep doing them and keep taking them versus keeping them pending. And they're very difficult to do. We just had one example last week where we had to just deal with the founder of one of our companies. I don't want to get into details, but I'm quite happy we did it. It's still a work in progress as to the final outcome. But if you had kept it festering any longer, it could have become substantially worse problem. So I'm happy we addressed that pretty serious issue, actually.
So then, let's see, a new founder that comes to you, he wants to start a company, or he's debating to start a company, and he comes and says, Sasha, what is your go-to advice for a new founder?
The go-to advice is, first, go deep into the understanding of why he or she wants to start it, like I said earlier. Mm-hmm. If it's just a new fad, or because my buddies are doing it and what the hell, I can do it too, I would say don't bother. Entrepreneurship is super, super hard, right? We only read the papers and the Wall Street Journal and talk about the heroes and the Airbnbs and the Ubers, but most people are not even remotely successful. And even for the ones who have been successful, you're going to really break your back, right? So if you're not sure, Working for someone is no crime at all, and working for a great company is even better. And if you're a qualified individual, you get that job. Just go do your work, go get a job, be happy. But if you do want to come in here, it's a long, hard struggle, it's a slog, but it is very, very rewarding. Like anything in life, right? More pain, you get more gain. And that's what it is for you at the end of the journey. There's a super sweet journey. And so life's about two things, right? Happiness and satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Happiness is day to day. I meet a buddy like you in New York, we have a drink, we're happy. Watch a movie, I'm happy. All those things are day to day happiness. Satisfaction is, actually sacrificing some of that happiness for long term. So that when I'm 65, I can have a drink alone in a bar in Cuba and say, okay, I worked for 30 years and I'm very happy. There were many periods of my life, many days, most of the last 30 years where I was working 2 hours more than I wanted to. But I'm satisfied because that was the goal I had. So that's your choice in life as to which route you want. You can't be satisfied and happy. I mean, you can try, and that's what I'm trying to do as we speak, but it's not so easy, right? Because what happens is that I end up being an, at best, average, professional or an entrepreneur, and then I'll be happy, but then I'll be unhappy because my performance is not good. So I got to make up my own bloody mind. It's what the hell do I want? And most people don't know what they want.
So my question always was, how do you even measure that? How do you measure the satisfaction of I guess how do you differentiate them both? How do you measure happiness? Because happiness, in my time, sometimes it's like a fleeting emotion. So now I'm happy. But then, if I continue on with the experience and then I look back to that moment, obviously it could change. But is happiness something that you feel in retrospect, or happiness is something that you feel in a current state?
I force myself to be happy in a current state because nobody's forcing me to do what I'm doing. And if I'm not happy, then why am I doing it? So I'm that kind of personality that I can do it for a while, but at some point I'm like, dude, life's too short. I'm out of here. So I've been, for example, I work in my family business. It wasn't my company, my dad's. He broke his back to build that business, but it wasn't making me happy hanging around. So if I'd spend the next 20 years in that company, I probably would not be happy today. And, I'm quite happy that I left. So I'm not the kind of personality that's going to hang around. Sometimes you do end up doing things longer than you want to. So I keep telling myself, look, am I happy with this or that or whatever I'm doing? So I'm not. I have a choice. So don't complain later because everything's our control, right, in life. And most things are in our control. So whatever's in my control, if I can't take those decisions to be happy, then what am I doing? And so I can even schedule happiness. So, for example, meeting my best friends for a movie or a dinner or a drink makes me happy. I schedule it. And I'm happy. It works really well.
And it's amazing that you put that part of your schedule. Even going to a movie is part of your schedule.
I see movies on my own. So my buddies, especially where I grew up, they don't like Bollywood movies. Bollywood movies are the Hindi to Hindi, which is our national language. I love them, but because they said most of them are very badly made. Now they're improving dramatically. The quality is improving, everything. But I actually watch the crappy ones. I can watch them for me to just kind of relax. And I go into a theater alone on a weekend and I'll watch for maybe 30 to 45 minutes at best, not even till halftime. In India, we have this thing called interval, which is half the movie and then the second half is again after a break. So I won't even probably make it an interval, but I just see it and I just have a quick laugh and I just walk out. As soon as I'm done with my laugh, I'm out of there. And if the movie's too heavy, I'm out of there for sure. And I probably won't even go watch it in the first place. That's the way for me to just relax.
So based upon that happiness, you're an avid reader.
Yeah.
How many books do you currently read
I
now?
read a book a week or 2 weeks. I mean, I like to read a book a week, but sometimes it's very, very difficult because there's too much work from work to do at home. Or for example, there's other things to get caught. Like, for example, I'm doing this course at Harvard Business School every January. So, we have all these cases to read in December, which we have to be prepared for. On the 18th is when I leave for Boston. So then in December, which earlier used to be a great time for me to read, especially Christmas was a great holiday, I don't get much time to read anything because I'm reading the cases. So this is a one-off period where I'm reading mostly cases of companies all around the world. But I'm looking forward to the course getting over at the end of Jan. And I'm going to take a whole bunch of books to read as soon as I finish.
So then what are some books that have influenced your way of thinking?
There's so many. I read so many. But last year, if I remember, I read Sapiens, which was an awesome book. Really. I read this book called The World as It Is by Ben Rhodes. Okay. Great book. I loved, Phil Knight's book, Nike founder. One of the best biographies I've read in a long, long time. I've read Summer Redstone's book. I mean, he didn't write it; it was a biography. It was very negative about him, but the beauty was he was founder of a company, or he came in so late after having started the theater business to actually have started Viacom and then bought CBS in the 60s. That was amazing. So it shows you that it's never too late to build huge companies. And he started in the 60s when most people are winding down, he was winding up. Mm-hmm. And it's an amazing story. I'm talking about the positive side of that book, right? It was just awesome.
Wow. So who are some people that you admire and you made a difference in your life?
So, of course, my parents. My dad's an amazing founder. He's a very positive man. And when he started his company in 1981, there were 555 television manufacturers who got licensed to start TV manufacturing in India. He's the last one left in 2018, now 19, who is the last publicly listed electronics manufacturer of Indian descent. So that's an amazing achievement, right? And he's 75, he's still working long hours, running a large public company. But he's also a very positive person. He taught me to always look inward, not outward, because, we come from a relatively rich family because he's done so well. He said, look, I always look inward, not outward. What that means is, don't look for me, for money, or for anything. Do it yourself. Otherwise, a lot of people who are born into second generation and third generations, they're always looking at their family saying, okay, my dad or mom's going to give me the money and then I'll build from there, or I can relax or do whatever. But because I got nothing from the time I graduated to now, I was forced to build my own life, which is credit to him. Because, as a parent, it's easy to give your kid something and say, okay, I'll help him or her. But by not helping, you're actually helping. Mm-hmm. That's what he did, which I respect. The second person I like is a gentleman by the name of Pulak Prasad. He used to be head of Warburg Pincus in India. He's now founder of a very large public markets fund called Nalanda Capital. He manages billions of dollars. He's taught me so many things, including how to manage my money, how to manage my time, several things. The third person is a gentleman by the name of Rafiq Malik. He's the founder and chairman of a company called Metro Shoes. He's a mentor of mine. Metro is India's largest foot retailer and will probably go public at the end of this year for market cap well in the north of $1 billion. So these are three people that I lean on for advice and input, and also you've been very kind. Of course, many other people, which I'm not mentioning on this one, have been equally helpful. But to save time, these are three people. And of course, my mother has been fantastic.
Right, for sure. So, Sasha, let's say someone wanted to get a hold of you to see, or even to see if Kae-Capital is a place for them. They want to get valued by Kae-Capital. What handles do you use for people to get a hold of you?
So the basic handle, like whether it be Twitter or whether it be Messenger or whether it be LinkedIn or directly writing, all that is fine. But I always tell people the best way to do it always for a VC is come through a very strong reference. Mm-hmm. Because we get thousands of plans a year. They all look the same. So when they come referred by someone I respect, that's the one we jump on first. So suddenly I'm supposedly busy, but I'm suddenly free to do a call with an entrepreneur at 24 hours notice or 40 hours notice if he or she has come referred by someone I really respect. So I always tell people, just make sure you come referred. That is easily the best way to get to any VC.
Perfect. I hope people are definitely going to take advantage of that. So looking back now, obviously thank God you have another 100 years to live, and we all do. But looking back now, from where you're holding and everything that you've gone through, what message do we tell a younger Sasha coming out of college and facing the world for the first time and has so many beautiful options in front of him what to do?
Well, so many things. I think, I'm supposedly supposed to mentor many young folks who are getting out of college as we speak, friends, sons and daughters. And say, do what you truly desire. Don't do what the world tells you to do. Right? A lot of times we end up doing what the world tells us to do, and we wake up and it's too late. I was lucky that it wasn't too late for me. But if a lot of people, I see people in their 50s now, and they're like, now it's run out of energy, we can't do it, and it's just regrets. And that's a horrible life to lead, right? Because you only have one life. Unless you believe in reincarnation, I don't believe. I just believe I have one life and I'm going to be out of here at some point. So I need to make sure that whatever days and hours I have, I should make them count. And so do what you really believe that it will make you happy. And like I said, whether you want to go down the happy route or the satisfaction route, it's the same thing. But don't do it for others, do it for yourself. I think then you'll be happy and life will be good.
Right. Perfect. Sasha, This has been absolutely amazing. I have learned a tremendous amount, not just about you, about different things, how you approach risk, how you value startups, how even the happiness satisfaction ratio of a person, how to not determine, but how to approach things in life from that point of view has been absolutely a real learning experience for me. And I'm very sure a lot of people are going to benefit from this too. So first of all, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for your time, and have a great day ahead.
Sure. And it goes obviously without saying. Anything that you need for your family or Kae-Capital, always reach out. Always here.
See you soon, everyone. Have a great day ahead.